All right, so we talked in the last video about, defining what it means to be spiritual, how that shows up in somebody's life. And basically, it's about a state of being, certain qualities that radiate from a person. Now, how do you get there, right? What are the steps to becoming, quote, spiritual, to shift your beingness in a profound way? So, principle number one, the most important and most foundational of all principles, is to get on the spiritual path means you're going to make a commitment to living in full integrity. All right, a commitment to integrity. You're committed to living in the truth. And this shows up in two ways. That on the one hand, you're committed to doing what is right. Your actions are going to be in alignment, in congruence with a sense of what is good, what is right, what is proper, and it's in alignment with what is true. You don't escape responsibility. You're not in denial. You're not lying, cheating, doing things that we, always consider as dishonest. No, you're living in integrity in terms of your action. All right, and excuse me. It also involves a commitment to truth in terms of your thinking. This is huge. That there's an accuracy in terms of the thought realm, your mind, the thoughts that kind of go through, what you're telling yourself, the judgments that you're making, how you evaluate and assess things. Is it really grounded in what's true? Here we really get to start. We always think it's the truth, but often we've been conditioned in so many ways. So classic example that really has a lot of impact is negative thinking. And negative thinking in the sense of, putting yourself down. Negative self-talk like, oh, I'm no good, I'm a schmuck, I'm always such a lousy failure at this and that. That whole negative kind of thinking. Right there, there's a lack of truth. All right? And that is where you need to do some work in bringing it into truth that, yes, I am a being of value. Yes, I may not have done a good job on this particular thing, but that doesn't mean I'm a failure. It just means that I need to show up and maybe do a better job down the road, or take more responsibility here in how I go about doing things, or whatever it is. You need to bring that into truth in terms of what you think. Then there's the realm of truth in terms of the heart. All right? And this is where we often have a disconnect from mind and heart, where in our hearts we often avoid the truth because often the truth is calling for us to show up in some way where we don't want to show up, to admit to a wrongdoing, a fault, that maybe I was unfair to Joe at work last week, and I don't want to own up to that. So in my heart, it's like, I don't want to face that truth. So my mind will justify how I berated him at work last week, that he was a schmuck, he didn't do this right, he didn't do that right, da-da-da-da-da, that's why I should fire him, and on we go. It's like, wait a minute, so we can have these justifications in our mind because we don't want to come to truth in our heart. And this is where then the mind can distort the truth. It can be a tool for justifying, rationalizing, providing excuses, stories of victimhood, like, oh, poor me, it's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. All kinds of stuff can start showing up, right? So to live in integrity means you have to find that truth in your heart and be committed to face the truth about yourself, all right, about life and what is. And then also bring your thinking into alignment with truth, and then to act in a way that is in integrity with truth, with what is right. All right? So living in truth is a key, central, foundational part of, the whole journey, the path to becoming spiritual. And again, here, I always love that quote by Mahatma Gandhi, his whole philosophy really, and his vision I totally agree with, is to live in truth is to live in God. To live in God is to live in truth. And you can't separate the two. To really be connected with the divine presence, the divine reality, that higher state of being, higher consciousness, higher intelligence, however you want to conceive it, to really live in alignment with that, there has to be that commitment to integrity. So that is principle rule number 1. All right. So, Linda Christensen here with ConsciousLivingPrograms.com. Watch my next video for the next principle.